All right, peace. So there's something real interesting about Adam and his story. Adam, his wife, and what happened to them in the garden. So we know the story. Adam, his wife, are told dwell in the garden. Allah tells them live in the garden. They could go anywhere they want to go. They could do anything they want to do, eat of anything they want to eat, but they couldn't eat one tree, right? So we all know this. And the shaitan, if you look at it, he had a hard task because they had anything they could want, except for one place that they couldn't go. And that makes me think one thing first, that Allah does make this religion super easy. Like, it's super easy. There aren't many things that are forbidden. There's a whole world of stuff, a whole world of good, and very few things that he makes us stay away from. That's still the same today. That's still the same case today. Is Allah made our religion easy, but we complicate it. But we complicate it, especially when it comes to what we eat. If you read the Quran in order, like, you can see the first commandment Allah gives to mankind is to serve him. The very next commandment, the very next "O mankind," is to eat. So Allah wants us to eat. He wants us to enjoy this. The ayah goes, this is Surah 2, ayah 168. O mankind, eat of what is lawful, what is in the earth lawful and good, and follow not the footsteps of the Satan. He is to you an open enemy. So right there, Allah is telling us, eat. If it's lawful, it's good. And he cautions us against doing what the Satan did. Right there, we should ask, well, what did the Satan do? Like, how do I not do what the Satan did? The answer to that is the Satan disobeyed his Lord. He didn't serve his Lord. He didn't do what his Lord said. So Allah is telling us, don't be like that. So eat what's lawful and good. Again, this is the second commandment after he tells us to serve him. So eating lawful things must be important. Just a few ayahs later, in same source, Surah 2, ayah 172 to 173, Allah says, O you who heed warning, eat of the good things that we have provided you, and be grateful to God if it be him you serve. Right here. If you're a believer and you read this ayah, you gotta ask the question, what are good things? Like, if you're a believer, you want to know what those good things are so you could eat them. Boom, you got good deeds, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's right there. If you ask this question here, Allah gives you the answer right in the next ayah. And there's so much good stuff that instead of telling you, listing out every good thing, he tells you the bad stuff to stay away from. He says, he has only made unlawful to you carrion and blood and flesh of swine, and that dedicated to other than Allah. But whoever is forced, neither desiring nor transgressing, no sin is upon him. God is forgiving and merciful. So that's it. 4 things that you got to stay away from. He has only made unlawful to you carrion. That's something that you found dead already. Blood. can't drink blood, flesh of pigs, no pork chops, you know, and that dedicated to other than Allah. That's it. If you're a believer, you stay away from these four things, everything else is good. As a believer, like, if Allah does tell us to avoid something, to stay away from it, we should take it seriously. I mean, you're a believer, you do what Allah says. But really, most of us, like, that's a command that most of us don't really think about. And I think a lot of people, a lot of us, commit a pretty major sin here pretty regularly. And that's the fourth thing that Allah forbid. Eating that's dedicated to other than Allah. That's a big deal. Like, it's a really big deal. Most of us don't eat meat that's slaughtered solely in Allah's name. Meat that's not dedicated to any other than Allah. And it may seem like it's not a big deal, but Allah goes in on this topic, on this point, and I'm about to show you. So in Surah 5, Allah goes into detail. He says, again, forbidden to you is carrion, blood, flesh of swine, that dedicated to other than Allah, and the strangled, and the beaten, and the fallen, and the gored, and that eaten by beasts of prey, except for what you slaughter, and that sacrificed upon the altar, and that you seek appointment by divining arrows, that is perfidy. This day have those who ignore warning despaired of your doctrine. So fear them not, but fear me. This day I have perfected for you your doctrine, and completed my favor upon you, and approved for you submission as doctrine. But whoever is compelled by hunger, without inclination to sin, God is forgiving and merciful. So again, he gives us more details there about what's wrong, what we can't eat, what's haram, what's forbidden. But to answer the question, the next ayah, and this is ayah 4 of Surah 5, he says, they ask thee, what is made lawful for them? Say thou, made lawful for you are good things, and what you've trained of animals of prey as trainers, teaching them of what God has taught you. Eat of what they catch for you, and remember the name of God over it, and be in prudent fear of God. God is swift in reckoning. Allah says forbidden to you, again, and lists out what's forbidden to you. And again, on that list is that dedicated to other than God, meaning no other names can be mentioned when an animal is sacrificed. And even if, like, you train an animal, another animal, a beast of prey, you train it to go capture an animal for you, you still have to slaughter it and mention God's name over it. This should be clear. This should be enough to show that Allah's serious about his name being remembered over what you eat. But Allah keeps it going. Like I said, I'm going to show you. He keeps going in. Very next surah, Surah 6. This is ayah 118. So eat that over which the name of God has been remembered, if you believe in his proofs. That's the whole ayah. That's a single ayah. It doesn't get any more clear than that as a commandment. If you believe in his ayahs, then you'll eat that over which his name has been remembered. And if you don't believe in his ayahs, do whatever you want. You're not a believer anyway, for real. I mean, obviously, if you believed in his verses, you would do what they say. But Allah keeps it going. Very next ayah. Very next ayah. He says, and what is with you that you eat not over that you eat not that over which the name of God has been remembered, when he has set out in detail to you what is forbidden, save that you're forced to do it. And many lead astray by their vain desires without knowledge. Thy Lord, he best knows the transgressors. Allah's going in at this point. What's wrong with you that you don't eat what Allah's names have been mentioned over? Like, you don't got the excuse because he's told you what's forbidden. He gave you the details of what's forbidden. And again, 2 more ayahs later, he drives the point home. And eat not that over which the name of God has not been remembered. It is perfidy. And the Satans instruct their allies to dispute with you. And if you obey them, then you're idolaters. So it's clear. Like, if you're a believer, it's forbidden to eat that which hasn't had Allah's name remembered over it. And if you let other people convince you that you can do it, then you a mushrik. You an idolater. And that's what Allah is saying. That's not what I'm saying. So if you got beef with it, take it up with him. Like, these are the ayahs. And like, Allah keeps going. It's not just this. It's many more ayahs. I'll end it with 2 ayahs from Surah 22. Because in Surah 22, it puts a cap on it. Like, Allah lets us know that this is a big deal. It's not just one generation back in the past that had to do it. No, this is something that we have to think about. This is a commandment on us. So, ayah 34, Surah 22. And for every community, we have appointed a rite. A ritual. Every community has a ritual. Let me start this over again. And for every community, we have appointed a rite, that they remember the name of God over what he has provided them of livestock, cattle. And your God is one God, so submit to him, and bear thou glad tidings to the humble. You want a ritual? This is your ritual. This is the ritual that Allah has given you, is to remember his name over what you sacrifice of livestock, cattle that he provided you with. In the same surah, this time ayah 67, he says, for every community we appointed a rite. Then let them not dispute with thee concerning the matter, and invite thou to thy Lord. Thou art upon right guidance. This seems obvious. It's a big deal. I'm making this video because my goal in life is to be a believer. So I see this and I'm like, oh, I gotta find meat. If I'm gonna eat meat, I gotta find meat that is slaughtered only in Allah's name. And that's a lot harder than you would think. But inshallah, this makes people go back, read Allah's ayahs. Don't take my word for it. Go read it yourself. Go see what Allah is saying yourself. But that's it. Peace.